If you haven't seen this already, go follow this guy and check out all his videos. This is wild. He hikes for like 21 days into the Grand Canyon. Literally hidden cities as far as the eye can see and all this other crazy stuff. Check it out.
This is truly some of the most mysterious paintings I have ever seen. I would love for you guys to comment what the first thing comes to your mind. Look at these big long staffs. And at the end,
You've actually been told that 2027 is quite significant. That's interesting because 2027 has featured quite a lot in speculation from people inside the intelligence community. And it's interesting because you're not the first person to tell me that AI is perceived as a threat. What have you been told about 2027?
It basically gets quite dystopian 2027, and people think it'll all be to do with that. But what will happen is something that nobody realizes happens, which is, I don't know which AI or all of them or some of them or one of them, but basically one of them realizes that it no longer needs any more information from us. It can join the dots up from then on. It's got everything it needs.
And that's a threat to humanity?
Yes, absolutely. Because what it'll do then is it'll just keep evolving. And because it's not really evil, but we think of it as evil. And what it does is it logically, without any care or emotion, works out that we're no longer required, and that we're actually a threat, and that we want to try and stop.
Welcome back, Global Mafia, to your home for non-mainstream news, the latest theories, and I'm going to keep you up on all the hidden knowledge. Let's get into this information they tried to hide from us. We're going to dive through the history, the set of lies that was agreed upon, and the current events that's going on right now. Let's have a conversation in the comments. Let's kick back, enjoy. Let's get to it.
Saw a Nordic alien? I did, on Orcas Island. I was visiting a friend there, and I woke up the next morning after we were talking about a bunch of stuff, and he'd gone down to the store, which is quite a ways away from his property, to get some food. And so I'm like, oh, it's a beautiful day. I'm going to take a walk on his property. He had like 20 acres in the woods. So I start walking, and I come over this ridge, and there'd been no one out. And all of a sudden, there's this person who literally looks like a male model, like a Scandinavian male model with kind of longish blonde hair in a weird kind of more like European clothes, whatever. And they say, hello, Brent. Like they're about 20 feet, a little bit further down the hill. And I'm thinking, how's he know my name? Secondly, I did not see his mouth move. And I was like, hello. And he said, turn around and walk the other way. But he's not looking threatening. And I kind of was like, got it, on it. Turn and I walk away. And now I'm getting a little bit freaked out. I get a ways down and I look back and he's not there anymore. My friend comes back and I say, okay, I just had a really weird experience. He goes, oh, with one of those tall white people? I'm like, what do you know about them? And he goes, they have a compound on the Orcas Island, and they come in a black helicopter unmarked to a facility that's all gated, and there's about 8 of them. And they come here and they stay here for a couple days at a time, apparently when this energy is really high, and they get recharged.
Holy hell, guys, you need to see what is happening in Albania right now. They are witnessing their largest protest that the country has seen in over 35 years. And what started as just demonstrations against the Ivanka Trump and Jared Krishna resort that they were trying to build on that island and also in Albania has now turned into much wider anti-corruption protests that they've been saying is been happening in the country for years. And this is their 23rd day in a row of taking to the streets. And that's not even the craziest part, because we're seeing this movement get so much support that expats from Albania living in other parts of Europe, they've driven back in these motorcades to stand with their countrymen to join this protest of over 100,000 Albanians on Saturday night. And there's even footage of some civilians breaking through these barriers and pushing facilities that would be used to build this Trump resort down a hill.
not going to speak on it too much. The algorithm don't like that, but a lot of countries have been standing on business this year. Look it up. Well, last year as well too, and they have not been standing for the nonsense the government has been feeding them.
It ain't just the power in your mind. Everything is in your mind. This life is in your mind. You see with your mind. You breathe with your mind. You eat with your mind. You lift weight with your mind. I can't find nothing that you don't do in this reality without your mind.
So if my mind and everybody's individual mind, they only see what they see.
No, yeah, exactly. So whatever you program your mind to see is what you see. And your mind kind of like don't understand and don't understand certain words and only understand like I would say, like if you tell your mind I don't want to be broke and you keep on saying it over and over again, all your mind gonna hear is broke. It's gonna keep on having you broke, right? So people don't understand that, right? You can't work your mind that way. You can't keep telling your mind what you don't want because your mind gonna keep on giving you what you don't want as what you want because it don't understand what you don't want.
Well, it's deep right there. I think you got me twisted up.
Look at the B666 is not a brain chip. It's much darker and deeper than that, if you understand the code. If you look at 666, there are 3 sixes. 6 is the number of physical matter because the cube has 6 sides. You can move left, right, forwards, backwards. You're inside a cube. Your soul is operating this body, and your soul has 3 creative powers. The observer or the soul thinks, feels, and acts. So the mark of the beast is when you become the beast by only thinking, feeling, and acting towards material things. Only caring, thinking, and acting towards chasing materialism, money, leaving no room in your consciousness for your spiritual connection to the divine. That's what it truly is. It's when your soul gets corrupted by materialism, only thinking, feeling, and acting towards the physical body. That's what the true mark of the beast.
This is where it gets really scary. We've been looking at these data centers. Most of these data centers are serviced by Checkpoint, which is an Israeli cybersecurity firm, and their CEO went on camera and a news station to say the only way to protect the First Amendment is to limit it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so everything that invades our rights as a citizen is brought under the guise of safety. And the thing is, there's a slight truth to that. Like, is China more safe than the United States right now? Yeah, I don't think in their major cities, they have a Memphis or a St. Louis or Chicago issue, but they're also, you can't rebel, you can't say your opinion. So like, at what level do we want to trade our safety for freedom? And, or vice versa. And I think that's the continuum that we always have to balance. And I think if our government had a wonderful, immaculate reputation of taking care of our people and not doing all this nonsense, it'd be easy to trust. But you know that as soon as you give up that initial inch.
So they're inevitably heading us toward the surveillance state. Nothing that we do is not watched and looked at. China, yeah, it's safe, but you can't even jaywalk without having a ticket sent to your house.
They're everywhere. There's some old graffiti. Killing. Here's a giant doing something. What does this make you guys think of? Comment below. There is hundreds everywhere.
Episode after only 2 seasons because it was showing a little bit too much of what happens behind the scenes. NASA just confirmed that there's this show called The OA that came out on Netflix, and a lot of people believe that it was canceled after only 2 seasons because it was showing a little bit too much of what happens behind the scenes. For example, in this scene, you can see a couple of students and a teacher performing a dance ritual because they believed they were dancing in a sacred geometrical way that would open up a portal to a different dimension. Many people believe that they've connected some dots, saying that these dances remind them of CERN's dances during their opening ceremonies when they're restarting their Hadron Collider. For those of you who may not know, anytime CERN starts up its Large Hadron Collider, they first have an opening ceremony where people dress up as animals or creatures and then dance in unison in front of strange images on a projector. And interestingly, similar to the show where they were dancing to open up portals, people have theorized for quite a while that CERN was secretly using their particle collider to open up portals to a different dimension. Now obviously that's just a theory and there's no proof behind that, but leave a like, let me know what you think about all this.
On the contrary, there are CERN scientists and researchers that say they have dealt with interdimensional beings and have opened up other realms during their collider test. So I don't know about that one.
Doll, party place, fancy fireworks. The show plays collector's case, each sold separately. You can send in proofs of purchase from any 3 Glamour Gals dolls. Jessie, Danny, Lonnie, or Shara in any of 3 outfits. And get Jessie in fancy formal.
Everyone is losing their minds over this 1981 commercial, calling her a time traveller, and honestly, I was ready to ignore it until I seen it side by side. You cannot tell me that there's not some similarities. But then someone pointed this out, and actually, it gets weirder. Now people are pulling up photos from 1985, and it's the exact same face. The forums are going insane right now, just tearing apart the timeline and the bone structure. It's not that people are saying she's a clone, it's the noticing how often the same face just shows up throughout history. At what point does a coincidence stop being a logical answer? Because it just feels like the internet is catching on to something. Does anyone else see the pattern? Let me know, because I'm done trying to make sense of all this.
There's a World Cup conspiracy that is currently going viral right now about the Ghana witch doctor that is allegedly cursing teams and players like Harry Kane, and everyone thought it was a joke until it wasn't. And please watch the whole video before you comment. So how did this all start? So Ghana game 1 plays Panama. Ghana is obviously underdogs, and they were tied until they showed this on live TV. Then Ghana scores 1-0 and they pull off an impressive win, but it wasn't really anything crazy, right? Ghana's next opponent is England, and this is when the witch doctor comes in. He says, I am working on Harry Kane. I have shown what I am capable of before, so I know what work I must do to stop him. I'm not wishing him serious injury. It will just be enough to stop him against my country. I will do my work so that it can help Ghana. You have to realize that England is very good. They're supposed to destroy this team, and Harry Kane is one of the best players in the world. So not only did the game with Ghana and England end 0-0, Harry Kane, who was allegedly cursed, missed a wide open goal at the end of the game, and look at this reaction. He couldn't even believe it himself. Internet obviously goes crazy after this game because it was just an insanely improbable outcome, and the fact that Harry Kane just airmailed a wide open goal is just wild. And then the witch, after the game, he says Harry Kane has now been released from the curse. He can score again, and then he shows the whole ritual, which was kind of weird. But just a disclaimer, I don't actually believe that this is real, but a lot of people do. I think that the blood of Jesus protects us from all of that BS, but it's still a really interesting
covenant. My only question is, why is the media covering this and giving it any exposure? When did we start doing that?
The King of England just made an announcement that it's going to change how the internet works. The face of the internet is changing, and probably every single Commonwealth country very soon also. And eventually, the plan is the entire world. So have a listen to this, and we got to discuss.
My ministers will also proceed with the introduction of digital ID that will modernize how citizens interact with public services.
Now, the top comment on this is, crazy how the BS the Brits are doing affects other parts of Europe, because now I'm losing all my internet privacy to a guy dressed like a medieval cosplayer. The next comment is, sorry, but you can't chat about things like digital ID when you're dressed as if you're living in the 16th century. Now, we have pictures like this, smiling, happy, how convenient, how versatile. And how, look, the Brit card, here we go. Downing Street, exploring options, digital ID. Now I'll tell you, the reason people are warning about this is because what did we see happen in China? The digital ID led to the social credit system. Now I'm not saying the social credit system is guaranteed to happen here, but if there's digital ID, then it's like one click away from using AI to track, monitor, surveil everything you say and do and type and think and say and speak. And then you're categorized as someone who doesn't like the current happenings and someone who's oblivious to the current happenings. And you can imagine If you're Chinese and you don't like what's going on in the current regime, that's not a good look for your social credit. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below about this king. Who made him king, man?
All things flow from source. All things return to source. All separation from source is but an illusion, and you are who you've been looking for. You are eternal. You are source. Take a look within and you will find you are the one you've been looking for the whole time. But take a look within where? Into the intron potential DNA scientists used to call junk. The 4th, 5th, and 6th stranded DNA is your soul. 7th, 8th, 9th stranded DNA is your oversoul. 10th, 11th, 12th stranded DNA is your avatar inner Christos, which connects you to your primal light field. The Kirashe frequencies, which connects you to the primal sound field. And the primal light and sound field together make your ascended master self. And you are who you've been looking for. And today, thank you for downstepping in consciousness to join us on Earth. Here we are.
They try to end the compilation on a positive note. That's a great thing. I don't know if those are the junk DNA specifically, but I do not believe in any junk DNA. There is nothing junk inside this whole universe. We all work in a collective consciousness. Now, one person will never know everything, but together we're going to figure it all out. Let's have a conversation in the comments. Let me know what you thought about these narratives, and we're going to keep getting to this knowledge. You know, I am Cash, capital K, $ for the S. Appreciate all the global members, the mafia, the family. We're going to keep going down this hidden knowledge and exploring all these details and getting to the facts. Let's get to it.